Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today's February 15th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see California to the right, Hawaiian Islands bottom left. Look at our next frontal system. You can't miss it out here across the Pacific Ocean. Another storm system will be hot on its heels as well as we go on in through early next week. So we'll dive into those details here as we go through the video today. Winter storm warning is going to be dropping off here in a few minutes. Winter weather advisory will continue across some of Northern California as we go through the day today. A little bit better precipitation chances there. You can see that one more slug of some moderate precipitation moving into the mountains there. So heads up for that. But then we get a break before the arrival of the next storm. And it's associated with that jet extension that we've been talking about here over the last few days. And you can see that pushing towards the state of California. And we get this active stormy period here as we go through this weekend and on in through the early portion of next week, and potentially even on in through next week as well. We'll look at those details here in a moment. Strong and gusty winds. Look at this, gusts 20 to 40 most coastal areas and valleys, 55 to 65 in ridges and higher elevations. That could cause some power outages. Watch out for the falling tree limbs and maybe some difficulty driving. Nice graphic here from Eureka National Weather Service. Also Eureka National Weather Service showing some of the heavy rainfall amounts. Crescent City up towards 1.5 inches. You can see Klamath 1.5 inches possibly as well. But if you go down towards Shelter Cove, look at that 2 to 3. Fort Bragg up towards 2 inches. Point Arena, same thing. And Trinity Center 2 to 3 also. So moderate to brief periods of heavy rain across the area on Saturday. This goes from Friday night through Saturday p.m. And watch out for some of that small stream and urban flooding when the heaviest rain arrives. Look at Fort Bragg, 45 miles per hour. Red Bluff, 40. Higher across the Sierra Nevada and some of the coastal headlands as well. But some gusty winds are going to come for the valley, but not as intense as what we had with that last round of storms earlier this month. Storm timeline, you can see today, wrapping things up. Friday, get a break here, but by Saturday and Sunday morning here, we start to bring that next storm system in here. Snow levels between 5 and 6,500 feet, depending on where you are, the gusty southerly winds. And then as we go into Sunday night into Tuesday, we're going to have some impressive snowfall totals again across the higher terrain with the snow levels still between 5 and 6,000 feet. Yeah, and you can see they're talking about some major impacts with this next storm here as we go on in through the weekend. Now, looking at the European model, this is last night's run, 100-meter wind speed. So we get a little bit of a break here, but then you'll see that next frontal system clearly arriving as we go through the day tomorrow, bringing the strong winds as we go through Friday night. And then eventually this comes through Saturday afternoon and evening here across some of the valley areas. And you can see some gusty winds down the coastline impacting the Bay Area, Central Coast, but nothing like what we got previously. But you'll notice it being blustery out there. And then that next storm system starts to arrive here as we go through Sunday night, bringing another round of gusty winds and potentially some heavier rainfall down towards Southern California also in through the early portion of next week. Also, we got the high surf advisory, so check it out. Breaking waves 22 feet, locally up to 28 here. So watch out if you're along the coastline there. Don't turn your back on the ocean. Keep your pets on a leash and your children out of the surf zone out here for the next few days. And this is probably going to continue on a bit on in through early next week. Now, here we go with the total swell height and direction. Hawaiian Islands to the left. There's the state of California. And so here goes our frontal system. And you'll clearly see it bring in some of this wave action as we go on in through Saturday. This is Saturday afternoon. Look at that increase in the wave action all the way down through Southern California as we go through the day Sunday. That next storm system rolls in here and keeps that increased wave action going all the way on in through next week. So heads up for that activity along the coastline. Some minor coastal flooding, some beach erosion is possible with that activity. If we look at the Canadian on the left versus the GFS on the right, 12Z run. You got a wider view here on the Canadian. You can see Japan all the way back here to the left, and I'm showing this one here for a reason, but you can see Hawaiian Islands here. Hawaiian Islands are here on the GFS. There's the state of California and the state of California there. So this is our next frontal system. You know, the model agreement is getting better with the timing and the arrival of this frontal system as we go through late tomorrow night into Friday morning, probably not actually Saturday morning. And Saturday morning is when the precip is going to be starting here. And this is about late morning here, about 10 a.m. But you can also see the next storm system developing here to the northeast of the Hawaiian Islands on the Canadian and the GFS. Pretty powerful low. I mean, look at that 980 millibar low. That thing is kind of monstrous looking out there. And it's going to have a nice fetch of moisture with it as well. And that's going to blast back into the state here as we go through Sunday night into Monday, another round of heavy snowfall. And this is the time frame when we start to look at the potential for some heavier rain. Santa Barbara and Ventura counties seem to be especially targeted here over the last day or so so in the model runs, but you can't still rule out some heavier rain for Los Angeles, Orange, and San Diego County as we go all the way on in through mid and next week. And then this next interesting system sets up off our coastline here, and you can see the big differences between the models as the Canadian keeps this cut off and further away, and the GFS is much closer to the coastline there, would bring some additional rounds of some moderate or even heavy rainfall with that. So lots to work out through the extended, but we're going to be active enough in the meantime. If I scroll all the way back, here goes Saturday's frontal system. Then the next storm rolls in here Sunday night on in through Monday and Tuesday. So it's going to be active enough in that time frame here. And we'll be going over that in some detail over the next few days. And we'll worry about that storm system later. Now look at the European last night's run. Let's see how it looks. And if we scroll through here, you can clearly see the frontal system rolling in here. We're now into Friday night. That's about midnight on Friday night. And then you see the precipitation starting across Northern California, moves down across the Bay Area, central coastline here, tries to get towards Southern California a bit, bringing a little bit of rain to Santa Barbara County there. And then the next storm system, hot on its heels, starts to bring another impressive fetch of moisture again into Southern California. And that could be when it starts to try to impact Los Angeles, but probably not looking at anything like what we just got with that last round of storms. But with things very saturated, we still have to pay very close attention. And if we scroll out into the future, you can see the European also has that cutoff load there, kind of right in between, actually closer to what the GFS was saying, maybe bringing some precip in. But again, we'll worry about that later. And taking a look at some of the actual snow level forecasts here, you can see starting out about 5,000 feet. And we kind of jump things up here as we go through, this will be Friday here. And then you can kind of see a little bit of a bounce back down as we go in through very early Saturday, but generally between, 7,000 feet for the next storm system incoming. So again, we're not talking about big snow accumulations down below 4,000 feet. We could use it, but we're probably not going to get it. And you can see Echo Pass as well, kind of keeping those snow levels pretty high through this time frame. And if you want a nice, affordable home weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Great smartphone app, updates every 3 seconds. And you can zoom in there and you can do your own graphs and share it with your friends as well. So anyway, click on that link down below if you want to save 10% on that. Now we're going to take a look at the excessive rainfall outlooks here. So if we take a look at day 3, this would be from Saturday morning to Sunday morning. You can see you got the slight across some of Northern California, north of the Bay Area. The marginal does extend down towards the central coast here. Day 4, check it out. They introduced a slight for the Bay Area and down towards San Luis Obispo. And then day 5, we start to include some of Southern California here as we go on in through Monday into Tuesday morning here. And this is definitely going to be fine-tuned, possibly upgraded for some areas as we go through the next few days as well. So we'll watch that closely. This is total precipitation in inches on the National Blended Models. So as we scroll through the day today, kind of see things wrapping up by the time we go through tonight. We get a break on Friday. But by Friday night, this frontal system is going to be just bearing down. Saturday morning, the precip starts to fly here, and you can see it does bring some nice amounts there. And then the next storm system hot on its heels with an even better moisture fetch and bringing some deeper moisture back up over the state. And you can see it starts to bring some interesting amounts across Southern California and coastal range. So pretty nice precipitation maker incoming here through the early portion of next week. And then we worry about that cutoff low after. But we have been backing off a little bit here across some of the transverse ranges for Los Angeles County, and that is a good thing. I mean, there's still some bigger amounts showing up here, 3 to 5 inches or so, but we'll watch that here over the next few days because it's not going to take much to cause some mud flow and some landslide potential here with what we just went through a couple weeks ago. 6 to 10 day, you can see we are bullseye through February 24th here across the state of California and much of the Southwest. And I want to show this as well. This was actually issued today, seasonal temperature outlook. So Northwest above average, including some of California and Nevada here. This is March, April, and May of 2024. This is March, April, and May seasonal precipitation. So we're just looking at equal chances right now. That doesn't mean we can't get heavy rain or some extended dry periods during this time as well. And monthly temperature outlook here, this is for March, and you can see it does include California and Nevada again. But something interesting here, the monthly precipitation outlook for March still has us above average here across California, Nevada, and portions of Arizona as well. So we'll be watching that. We might have some of that El Nino influence all the way through March here and future rounds of storms coming in. We'll watch that closely, of course. But yeah, powerful frontal system rolling in, one hot on its heels there, and then maybe the potential on in through the later portion of next week. But The good news is we kind of not looking at the huge, ridiculous totals here across some of the transverse ranges, but there is some of the models that are showing some pretty heavy amounts rolling into, again, Santa Barbara and Ventura County here as we go through early next week. So we really got to watch that here because things are still very saturated. And we also have to watch other portions of the state. You saw some of those precipitation amounts showing up, especially with that second storm. And watch out for the gusty winds as well. Not as crazy as last round, but still notable and could get some power outages. Also, the big wave action up and down the coastline as well could tear it away at some of those fragile coastlands up and down the state of California as we bring those storm systems in here. You saw some of those breaking waves up over 25 feet possible. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. But we will do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.